does. It does.
That's better. Of course, that's all they announced. Because nobody cares about 1-2 Switch.
Probably all there is.
Oh, the presentation has concluded.
All right, gentlemen. So that does our presentation of the Nintendo Switch event here on January 12th, 13th. I don't know what we want to call it at this point, but the Nintendo 12th press conference that occurred. But I do want to go over a letter grading system. So who wants to start us off and give a grade and why they said it?
I can kick it off.
Okay, do it.
Before that last announcement, it was definitely like a D. I mean, the hardware itself sounds cool, but when there's nothing to play on it, especially when the one launch title that they were touting the whole time, 1-2 Switch, they were saying don't even use the screen. I mean, so I'm like, well, what's the point of the software or the hardware at that point? But definitely with the announcement that Zelda will be a launch title, I give it a solid B at that point, just because it's such a popular title and not everybody's going to want to play it.
A B? Wow, that was really high. that is
I'm really excited about that one. I'm looking forward to Zelda, and it needs a power title to really, get it off its feet.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
Andrew, you want to take it over from there?
Yeah, sure. Of the four of us, I'm probably the most casual gamer here. And I think, that's the target group they need to go after in order to be successful. I really like the concept, the console. But, like some of you guys said, the content's it's really not impressive. And it doesn't really draw me in a whole lot. I'm going to have to give it a D+. I agree that Zelda really helped save it, but outside of that, I couldn't care less about hardly any of the games they showed.
D+. Okay.
Right.
And our resident Nintendo expert here, and Jerry, if you want to go ahead and let us know what you think.
Whoa. Well, I'll tell you what. I am not content with just having one game at launch that's a big game. I was expecting something else, and I feel like they could have done that. They've had enough time. They basically gave up on the Wii U a year ago, so they could have just, I'm going to say it, switched over to the Switch. They could have just and then just forgot about it, because honestly, I felt like, especially with the Wii U and having it, they basically forgot about us in the first place. They're just like, whatever, there's like a gamer and whatever, or maybe you can have another one. But overall, they really didn't put out a lot, and given the schedule that they're giving us now, which seems like a lot of emptiness, it doesn't really give me a lot of hope that they're going to continue with a cadence that's going to compete with Xbox and PlayStation. When they had their launches, they had at least 3 or 4 games that you were interested in, and a couple of filler games. I felt like we got 2 games, 1-2 Switch, Breath of the Wild.
That's the only ones they announced for sure, were those 2.
And then the rest of them were holiday, spring. I'm not even going to count ARMS. I don't even know what that is. They gave us a Mario game that I'm not sure I wanted, Mario Odyssey. It feels like what they tried to do with Mario Sunshine, but they're trying to be much more elaborate, and I really don't want Mario to become kind of an irrelevant game. Like, it looks like it might be. I don't want it to become what Sonic became, but it feels so close. You were mentioning how it feels very similar to a Sonic. I totally agree with you. I don't want to give it a C, but I'm gonna have to. It is probably a C-.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. So coming in,
Lenient now.
piggybacking right behind you, and I'm kind of where Andrew's at with the D+. here's the thing. You hit the nail on the head on several other points. They ditched Wii U, in my opinion, at least a year ago. You had Star Fox Zero, and then that was it. Mario Maker had been like long since been developed. You know what I mean? It was supposed to be Mario Paint 2, and then they made it into Mario Maker. Like you guys have been working on that for like ages. So as far as last year went, the only thing you had going for you was Star Fox Zero. So being from the outside looking in, knowing that you guys had this plan the whole time, you didn't show anything off at E3. You've been so secretive, keeping everything under wraps. My thought was, you must have a lot in the works. You must have a bunch of stuff that you guys are just holding on to, especially when they were also saying how weak the system was going to be. I was like, that makes perfect sense. These were all former Wii U titles that you decided to just wait and release on the Switch. So I was like, that's what's going to happen. They've got to have like this plethora of titles that they're just going to be able to barrage us with. There's got to be a few surprises at this event and stuff, and there's got to be at least one other major title. Or, I mean, even think about it. They didn't mention Mario Kart 8 Switch.
Nope.
At all, so there's no telling if or when that's coming out. I mean, I guess not if, because it was in the first trailer, so I would say it's pretty much confirmed, but we have no idea when, so I would think if that was a launch title, we would have heard something about it. And then you got the Splatoon 2, which is great and all, but again, is not anywhere close to launch, and, could get pushed back for all we know. So I just, as far as its launch goes, you have two games. One you've been teasing forever, and then the other one is a game you don't even use the screen on the device in order to use. Like, nothing about that is screaming, like, have to have it day one kind of stuff. Like, I'm all about the Legend of Zelda. I think that's going to be great, and, I'm still probably going to buy one only because I had already planned on it, and I feel almost like I'd be letting myself down by not picking one up. But at the same time, like, I really feel like you dropped the ball. You definitely dropped the ball. There was a ball to be had, and you dropped it. You had a long time to prepare, and it just did not blow me away. There was a lot of rumored titles that didn't make it, like Pokemon Stars didn't make it. You didn't mention anything about Mario Kart 8. You didn't mention anything about the Mario RPG Rabbids crossover thing. Like, so to me, that means most of those are not going to happen or are so far out that we didn't bother to talk about them. So, I'm right there with you guys on C minus D, somewhere in that range. I guess I'd give it a C minus because I did want to give it the letter grade up because you did at least include the Zelda. But at the same time, like, you can't run the console on Zelda. You gotta give us more than that, and you didn't give us anything at all to go off of.
Yeah, Skyrim didn't even. I mean, that should have been a launch title too.
They didn't even mention a date. They didn't even mention a date. We don't know when Skyrim is coming out. Yeah, and again, that's a 5-year-old title.
Yeah, and I wanted the other games that they touted, whatever those games were, to also be part of this. And I felt like it was very vague for what it was. I don't feel like the presentation was as well. The laser light show was the most planned thing they did.
Absolutely. You had a representative from Sega come out and not show any gameplay. You had another representative from some other game company that I'm not even sure of. I guess he was an indie dev or something. Again, come out and not show any gameplay. He didn't even have a name for the game yet. Like, why did we invite him then? Like, maybe we could come up with somebody, even a third-party 2-year-old title being ported to the Switch would have been more interesting than having the dude come out and go, I'm working on a game, but I literally haven't even thought of what to call it yet.
That felt so rough.
I just know that there's got to be something else that they have to tell us in order for me to really bite on this matter. One, I would like to know if the Virtual Console is going to have things that I care about, or if I can port items from the Virtual Console that I have, because Nintendo is notorious for saying, oh, I'm sorry, everything you bought in Virtual Console for Wii doesn't port over to Wii U, and I don't expect it to port over to Switch. But for someone like me, who has purchased games over and over again, gets kind of sick of that, and I feel like they need to have something in place there. They mentioned the pay-for service for their online service, which leads me to believe that they're going to take it more seriously, but at the same time, if it's a pay-for service and it's no better than the service they're offering for free, I'm going to be incredibly disappointed with that. They really need to get that right. Online has never been Nintendo's forte, and I know this console really depends on it being online, and I think they've realized that.
Well, even that is a great
It seems
example.
like they're
Go ahead, Ben.
it seems like they're touting the local play more so than the online play, though.
Right.
This is true, but well, I think that's what Nintendo's all about, is like collaborative, like sit down and play together play, and I can see that in the way that they have their games structured. Even the games that I'm not even really a big fan of, like 1-2 Switch, that's a multiplayer, bring it to a party game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say that it's not fun. I have no idea, but at the same time, I don't feel like that's a polished game to sell to someone. Neither is ARMS. I don't think ARMS is a polished game to sell someone. If anything, that should be like the bundle that you get with the game, with the console, like Wii Sports was. And that, I think, that's what made the original Wii, good, is they provided a game that was basically a technical demo for what it could do. And those games that they're telling us about, feel like a technical demo or an app, as Chris says. If they bundled that in, sure, I'd play it because I had it, but I'm not going to go buy it.
Well, like a perfect example is, you mentioned the online play, and it's like, okay, we're going to take online play more seriously, but since we're doing that, we're going to start charging you for it. And it's like, okay, fine, Nintendo, I disagree. I don't think that's the right way to handle it, but then aren't you at least going to show me why I have to pay for it? Like, what did you even show off? You didn't even show anything off. All you showed off was Splatoon and ARMS, right? Those were the only two multiplayer games that they even came up with for the thing. So it's like, you're already telling us you're going to start charging for the service, but then you're not even, like, showing us why we would want to pay for that. Like, if your plan was to even do that, maybe you shouldn't even mention that here at this conference, you know what I mean? And been like, later down the line, we're just going to say, hey, just so you know, we're going to do it free for the next 6 months, and then, you have to pay for it after that, blah, 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 blah. Rather than go right up front and be like, we're already going to start charging you for a service that you don't even know if you want, you don't know if you're going to need, and here's 2 games that you might want to play on it. Like, I don't know that was the right call to make, to immediately start, like, shoving down our throats other ways that you're planning on charging us for the system, when you don't even have your own stuff fleshed out enough for us to know if that would be something we would want to do.
You know why I would pay for it? I would pay for it if I had all-you-can-eat virtual console, and I could just pay month to month and have a huge library of virtual console games.
I agree. I agree. But they didn't, you know what I mean? All things that they didn't talk about. They didn't bring up virtual console at all, which I was kind of upset about, because, you did mention the fact that, it's going to have this from this system and that from that system, and this introduced from this system is going to be on there, blah, blah, blah. But then you'd completely ignore the virtual console library.
I also noticed they didn't talk about the UI experience of the actual console itself.
It was minimal. They never talked about it. They just showed it for a split second.
Yeah, I mean, and not to say that a console lives or dies by its user interface, but having a nice one makes a difference. Having an easy access to get into your games and be able to configure controller settings or that kind of stuff. I know it's into the weeds, and maybe that's not something.
Well, you say that, but they went into the weeds and gave us tutorials on multiple games.
They're like, here's how you play this particular game. I'm like, wait, are we going to user manual this right now? I don't know if I can handle this.
So,
I don't know.
I think
It's
we
like
all
the
basically... I think we can all basically say that it was not what we expected. Ben came away with it much higher than us, though. So he's either regretting that grade, or maybe we all got it wrong. Maybe it was just me laughing at everything that brought the whole team down here. But I don't know. I just you had all year to prepare.
I think I
Ugh.
might have graded it a little high, but at the same time, there's still other stuff that it can do as other than play games. So we'll see. We'll see when launch comes
We shall see.
how it does.
Oh, and the 3 to 6 hours of gameplay, depending.
Yeah, two and a
Well,
half
they're saying-
to 6 and a
They're
half.
saying
Two
they're
and a
saying
half.
a solid 3 for
3.
Zelda, but
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Still-
It seems
I mean, I guess
it seems
that's-
like a limited.
I guess that's okay. It's got USB-C. You could plug it into a backup battery and charge it, but I feel like that's just getting a little... At least they give you the power choice, like on the road. You don't have to dock it. You can charge it wherever. So that's, I guess, nice that they have that. But will I get the system? Yes. I
Yeah,
got the
I'll
Wii
probably
U.
get it. I like having new toys, so I'll probably get it too. But
I got the Wii U. That was a bad decision. I get the Nintendo Switch, and that's a bad decision. Then okay, fool me twice. But you've already fooled me once, Nintendo. Fool me twice, and we're gonna have another discussion.
I don't know. I have a feeling this could be the last Nintendo console, guys.
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
really
It all
could
depends
be.
on how quickly they can get games out.
Yes.
If
but
if it delays, if nothing else comes out until substantial anyway comes out until holiday 2017, then it's not going to do so well. But
and I'm even okay
we'll see.
at this point with taking some of the Wii U games, because how many people really have the Wii U? Honestly, myself and maybe like 2 other people on this planet. If you take Wii U games that nobody really had the opportunity to play, like Hyrule Warriors, and port it over, it's already done. Just get it onto that console somehow.
But they didn't
4K.
even mention Mario Kart 8, and they had already mentioned it before. They didn't mention it. They didn't mention a date. We got nothing. And what about Pokemon Stars? Word on the street was that was canned at the same time they finished up Sun and Moon. Now I'm not even sure if it's a real thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a real thing, but going back to the Wii U games, Star Fox Zero, you guys didn't get the opportunity to play that. If you could play it on the Switch, you probably would play it on the Switch, wouldn't you? Super Smash Brothers, I think, would be an amazing game
Yeah.
for this. That's the collaborative play that everybody wants. I know they're going to probably make... I hope they make a Smash Brothers for this console.
Yeah.
That would
April,
be
April
Awesome.
for Mario Kart 8.
okay.
April
That's not
28th.
bad. That's not bad.
They're
Not,
I'm just
not
reading
where I
Twitter
want it
about
to
it.
be.
I just don't know. Why are you releasing it so early then? If you could have had Mario in April, why are you releasing this on March 3rd?
When did they say they were going to have their online service? I forget. Was it summer?
I thought it
No,
was
they're gonna
summer.
have their online service immediately available, from my understanding, but you're gonna start paying for it in the summer. And
thought they
apparently
were
the
talking about a
Nintendo
free
site
month.
is down. Yeah, it's gonna be free for 6 months or so.
They're doing NES and SNES games with your online subscription.
Nintendo's down at my end. Is anyone else having that issue?
I can't pull it up.
I'm just reading other things.
Now, are you reading from legit sources, or is it more people who want to feed me lies? Because there was a lot of lies, apparently.
No, there was an actual.
All right, well, we can get into all that at another time. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. So thank you for joining us on our little experiment here while we tried out the presentation of the Nintendo Switch this evening. Go ahead and feel free to hit us up on Twitter or Facebook or comment here, and I'll read it later. And yeah, have yourself a wonderful night, and thank you for joining us.